slight delay in the time that you guys type and the time that we, do our bit over here. And boom, here we go. Welcome live. I'm Ryan Douthit at Driving Sports TV. I'm broadcasting live from Bellevue, Washington. This is studio. I have no staff, so this will be interesting. Of course, we are all on lockdown from COVID-19. Hopefully everybody is staying safe out there. We did have a couple issues in setup today, just a little bit of a housekeeping. So the stream might not be the highest quality because I actually had to move everything from my primary server to my secondary because my primary was not acting as reliable as I would like. That aside, I'm Ryan Douthit, host of Driving Sports TV. We do car reviews here on YouTube. We also have a broadcast show that is aired occasionally in South Africa and, of all places, Russia. I would love to see the Russian translation of me. I really hope they gave me a guy with like a seriously burly Russian voice. You know, the stereotypical break out the liquor. Ah, yes. Anyway, moving along. You guys didn't come here to, somebody says I need to crank up my mic. Okay, I'll crank up all the sound. How about that? Hopefully that works. We got a little bit of a delay. So, as I fix things, it might take a moment to reach you guys. So, I am going to cut to the chase, and you guys didn't come here to see me today. You came here to see Larry Kosilla from AMMO NYC. Now, I've known Larry for several years. We've done several shoots together. We went to Norway. We did that F1 car together. Lots of great stuff. He's a great guy to hang around. And I said, hey, Larry, you're blowing up. You're huge. Would you come on my show? And he said, no. Okay, actually, no. He said, yeah, sure. Whenever's good for you. So here we are on a Friday. And without further ado, I'm going to bring his audio levels up. And I'm going to now pop to Larry. Hey, Larry.
What's going on?
Whoa, your audio is a little hot there. Let's bring your audio down just a little bit. How are things doing over in, where are you? Your secret bunker back east. I don't know if we want to say where you're at.
Yes, no, everything is good. We're happy and healthy, thank God. And I have everybody running around outside, literally out my windows right here, just because we're locked in the woods and no one's really going out. But yeah, no, everything is fine. It's just it's like everybody else. We're just kind of going a bit stir crazy. So I'm actually working a lot in my garage, which is not something I normally do. I go out to customers, or I go to Speed Sport, or I go wherever I got to go. So now my little guy is very excited because every 10 minutes I'm trying to bring home a fancy car to work on. He's like, Dad, you guys all these cars? I'm like, yeah, no, I wish, but no. So yeah, it's been intense, but can't complain. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you. Yeah, kids are great. My daughter is a teenager now, so my wife has to teach a teenager school because the kids are all at home school now, which is, yeah, good times. We're all getting through this.
It's nice when your 4-year-old goes, hey, Daddy, I have a Zoom meeting later today. I'm like, what?
You have a what? Right?
He's like, yeah.
My daughter's martial arts class has moved to Zoom as well. So 3 days a week, I run out of here early because my wife wants nothing to do with it. She's like, it's your call. Yeah. You get to set up the Zoom meeting. I'm like, oh, come on. It's all good.
So, yeah, can't complain.
That's good. So you've been blowing up lately because of these garage finds, these barn finds that you've been running across. Why did you get the idea to do? I mean, you're a detailer, one of the greatest detailers, some people would say. I wouldn't say, but some people would say in the world, possibly one of the finest detailers. So how do you make the transition? A lot of your old stuff is on YouTube is instructional. How did you migrate to doing these barn find videos? Like, what was the first one that came to you and you're like, let's do that?
The very first one that I did, ironically, was during the first season of Drive Clean. Now, I thought most people, there's a lot to talk about here, but in terms of what the YouTube, there's a lot going on here. I went like, during the first season of Drive Clean, the mission with that, when I went to them, was how to. Back then, Ryan, you know this better than I do. people actually went on YouTube to learn things.
What?
Craziness. I know, to think about learning things. So that was big. That was hot back then. How to do this, how to do that, how to do this. And now it's just blown up and it's so much how to. That's great. Now people, as the demographics change a little bit, people aren't really watching as much cable anymore. They're watching YouTube for their entertainment. So there was how to, and now I think you would agree, it's starting to shift a little bit more towards entertainment. So after 10 years like you or whatever doing these sort of videos, I found that, first of all, I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of how-to videos, and you've shot probably 150 of them with me, with all the, what were the channels that we did? Autoblog. I mean, it's just all these things that we did. So now, because it became more entertainment-based, I have to take how-to and entertainment and kind of smash them together. And so going back to the very first episode, or the first season, during the first season of Drive Clean, I got a phone call from a guy, Roger Garbo, one of my buddies, and he said, "Hey, there's a Porsche 912 in this garage. Would you want to do it?" And I'm like, "Roger, I'm in the middle of this season. I've taken like 2 months to write 10 episodes or whatever it was." And he's like, "You got to come up and do it." So on the weekend, in between filming, we went up and we filmed this episode. Long story short, that was the biggest episode on like the Drive channel for that year or whatever it was. And that was an off the cuff. I had no script, nothing. And so I learned that people want to see ultimately a before and after, and something that was like bringing like a preservation kind of thing back. You know what I mean? Basically, like the show that's out there now, American Pickers, that kind of version.
Right. That's a great show. I like that one. The funny thing with YouTube is, because all content lives forever, I have some videos that I shot. One specifically, there's a window tinting video that I put out back before people really wanted in-depth how-to step-by-step. They wanted more overviews. I mean, the video was posted like 7 years ago, and people today are still commenting going, "Well, that wasn't detailed enough." It's like, well, it was a different time, you know? Your old content lives, even though it's not as relevant today. It's like you never get rid of that past on YouTube. It lives forever.
Right. People don't like read the bottom and it says like, "Oh, this was posted in 2005. Some of my earliest ones with Matt Farah, where we rented, like, back then they didn't have drones. We had to rent a helicopter to get like a sky shot for it. You know what I mean? You know, it was, it's just look down, and if it says 2005, it's probably going to be a little dated. You know?
Yeah, right. You can't help that at this point. And your choices, you could remove them, but why, right? They're kind of cool to go back in time. So now that we're in lockdown, let's go ahead and transition to detailing, because we only got an hour here and we've already burned up 8 minutes. A lot of people are locked in with their cars, and it's possible that they've buffed them 50 times too many already. At what point is it too much love on the car when you're cooped up with it? Like, what would you say to somebody who calls up and says, you know, "Can I buff my car 20 times? I mean, what's your overall view on this right now?
Right. So let's be clear, there's a separation between two things. One is using abrasives, and the second is adding layers of protection on there. So vastly different forks in the road. So the first one, let's go to the abrasive. You don't really want to use abrasives at all on your car. Sort of like going to the emergency room. You don't want to go there unless you have to. So unless the car is damaged or there's something wrong with it, then you would use abrasives. So if I answer the question in sort of that theory, I would say not a lot, because clear coat is like cartilage in your knee, for lack of a better word. Like once it's gone, that's it. It ain't growing back. You know what I mean? It's very thin. Now, if you go to the right side of the fork in the road, let's say, if you want to add layers on your paint, and as long as you're doing it with lubrication, meaning you're washing your car and you're lubricated, you're drying it lubricated, all those things, you can rub it all day long. It's just it's like a math equation. 2 + 2 is 4. I can't tell you any other way. I can't make it easier for you. It just is what it is. You know what I mean? So people would say, I get like 10,000 questions on how they can manipulate and kind of get around. Well, what if I did it like, and I'm like, it doesn't work that way. It just, if it's not lubricated, you're going to be scratching it. If you're going to be scratching it the wrong way, you're going to be accumulating all these scratches over time. So it's never just like one wipe and it's like, oh, you scratched it. Sometimes it's the accumulation of thousands of what I call love marks, love wipes that, sort of build on top of each other over time. And you look at it and go, man, my car's not that shiny. And it's like this vicious circle. So that's a long way of saying you can wax your car until your arms fall off. You'll be fine in theory. But if you're using abrasives, that's not good. You don't want to be doing that more than
seeing people
once a year.
How they very often will do it in their own driveway. The chances of them having pristinely clean stuff rubbing against their car. I mean, I see people reuse towels all the time, and so
it's not a good look. So when people are washing, one of the biggest things now is they use when they wash a car, they're focused on getting as much soap on the car as possible. It's really not just about how much soap you get on the car. It's about the tools that you use that are touching the paint during that process. It's a little complicated, but if you think about it, it's not that big of a deal. So what I'm alluding to is a wash mitt. So a wash mitt sits in a wash bucket. I'm saying in the worst case scenario, not so much anymore because people are becoming very educated about it, which is exciting. But let's say in the worst case scenario, somebody puts a wash mitt in their bucket and they leave it there for X amount of time until they come back and wash their car again. Now that wash mitt is 100 years old. It's got a ton of dirt in it. That's kind of an old example now because most people understand that.
Right.
What they forget about is chamois. The chamois that have like the rigor mortis. They sit like this and they're stuck for 100 years in that plastic tube. Yeah. Well, that thing hasn't been washed or cleaned in years, right? And you're drying your paint, and by default you're scratching it. So it's really there's like a few golden rules, and then you can go nuts. You can go wash your car 50 times if you want, but you can't go outside those rules. Do you follow the logic there?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go ahead and start taking some questions because they're starting to load up here. First, we're going to take Courtney, who says, question for Larry, what are some of the newest and coolest product trends you're looking at in detailing right now?
That's an interesting question. That's cool. I am shooting a video on a couple of different things too. The irony is I'm usually not someone that sits around, but obviously we don't have a choice at this point. So just like everybody else, my internet is just like on fire between me and the family. So I'm doing a lot of research, and I found some cool things. There's some cool new polishers out there that are actually 5-in-1 that have multiple orbits in one machine. Kind of a cool thing. I saw it at SEMA, and so I thought that was really exciting. And I'm starting to figure out how to play with these kind of things. There's that one. I found a very cool tool. I actually have to get it to load up here, but another cool tool that it has I'll get it to load while we're doing this. It has a Q-tip. And you see the Q-tip right there?
Yeah. And
so you take that Q-tip off and you wipe it on the interior of the car or your surface or your desk or your hand or whatever. And then this thing it's got to load. And then you take it, you literally stick it in here, you close it, you hit it. It looks like an app. It's about to load. There it is. Can you see that?
I'm going to go ahead and push you wider here. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
You see this thing? It says quick test.
Yeah.
Yeah. This one is an old one, so it's not going to read anything. But if I hit quick test, it'll say I'll run the test. And then within 10 seconds, it'll tell me how much bacteria is on a given surface. Is that not the coolest thing you've ever seen?
That is so cool.
So wait for it to pop up. Yeah, this one's not going to read right because I obviously didn't do it. It's going to probably say 0. But it'll say pass, fail. Yeah, see, look, I passed with 0, obviously, because I didn't wipe anything. But
right.
This will tell me. I know, right? Woo! Luckily, my air isn't disgusting. So that's one of them that I've been playing with that will basically determine whether how good the cleaning process is when I'm cleaning something. So you can test it before, clean it, and then test it afterwards. And it's basically a tool to measure the effectiveness of your cleaning. So that's one thing I've been geeking out. Now, the whole reason I'm doing like all this research, that's a great question, by the way. I'm doing all this research is detailers are emailing me or calling me and kind of like on a more serious note, they're very concerned because we're all out of business basically because we can't go anywhere. And saying, hey, how do I stay profitable or make more money when I come back in? I don't know what to do. I don't know how to charge. I don't know how to do any of these things. So I started doing some more research trying to figure out how do we get ourselves to price everything a certain way, meaning like mechanics have ASE certification, they have detailers and paint protection film installers and dent guys and window tint guys. We don't really have that sort of like, here's our hourly rate. When you go to a garage and I'm making this up, $160 an hour, it's kind of somewhat fluctuates, but when you go in there, you're going to be paying. The detailing world is kind of like just sort of all over the place, Wild West, where one guy's charging $100 and the other guy's charging $60. And there's not really like a professional sort of mainstream. So what I was doing was researching, hey, what are some of the applications for that? While you're doing this, I'm actually pulling this up. I have it on my phone, which is ironic, my iPad. So I have one here. I was just playing with it. It's called Mobile Tech RX. Mm-hmm. It's pretty It's pretty neat. You can load in. Yeah, I don't know if you want to see that or whatever. The irony is I have all this. I've been playing with it right now, but you can load up new clients and new estimate work order. It's actually a pretty trick thing, and I was playing with it in my latest video to try to answer a lot of the questions that these detailers are asking me, like, hey, what am I supposed to be doing? Like, how do I become more profitable when we actually do get back into business? This thing is really cool. I have a lot more testing to do, but one of my favorite things is the irony is I have a GT4 downstairs that I'm shooting. And
of course you do.
Well, no, I mean, it's a whole long story, but when the car came in, it had a bunch of scratches on it and a bunch of dings on it. And this thing allows you to take pictures. I'm sure you know, maybe as the detailer's watching, when the customer comes in sometimes, and then you work on it and the car goes down, they're like, that scratch wasn't there. No, that ding wasn't there, that kind of thing. This allows you, I mean, you could do it on your iPhone, I guess, but this is like a way pro version. You can take pictures of everything. And then when the customer's still standing there, you can get them to sign off on it.
Nice.
Which is like a big insurance thing. And you can text them. It's pretty trick. So I have 50 other things. There's another tool over there. I can't reach it. But when I get really bored, I do a lot of research. So I say that app's pretty cool. This thing's obviously ridiculous. And so lots of cool things. Loaded questions. See what happens when you ask me one question?
Yeah, I know. This is going to be a long live stream. That's okay.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
The next thing is Kyle's asking thoughts on using an extractor, hot water only, on the cushion part of suede seats.
The cushion part of suede seats. Okay, so you don't really want to put a whole lot of water in suede. It tends to not like that whole thing. And when he says suede seats, I'm guessing Alcantara's, because suede seats, you don't want to do any of that. But Alcantara, you can be a little bit more rough. Alcantara is just the name of a brand.
Yeah.
Of
Ultra
something that's
suede
basically
is a
faux
Japanese
suede.
Version. Yeah.
Right. It's just a stronger version. It makes you feel like suede and all this, but it's not, because suede's a nightmare. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Suedes are like in Bugattis or something like that. It's not something that you want to, it's not strong. Alcantara is stronger. So I'm assuming he's asking about Alcantara, but no, I typically don't shampoo them. It'd have to be really dirty, meaning so far past normal repair that a shampoo, even if I shampooed it and not ruined it, but it didn't look so great, it wouldn't matter because I just wanted to take out all the bacteria. Let's say like a blood stain or something horrible on it. I mean, who cares at that point? You follow me? So that would be my answer to that one. Suede's a little bit challenging because you don't want it to mat down. As a matter of fact, I'm doing something like that on the GT4 because the GT4 has a Alcantara steering wheel. I should know how to clean that.
Those Alcantara wheels, I have one on my Legacy. They just get really nasty really quick, it seems. Good for stickiness, but bad for gross.
Yeah, they get bad really fast. So you can use a lot of compressed air to kind of get those fibers to stick back up again. Mm-hmm. But in my opinion, just because I'm a crazy person and I love GT3s, there's nothing like an Alcantara steering wheel and a shifter. If you got to replace it every 2 years, then so be it for the joy of it. Yeah, sorry. Like, I don't know what to tell you. That's how nice those are.
Here's an opportunity for you to give a product plug. Somebody's asking, will you ever sell larger quantities or products or diluted IRO? What's that? Is that an industry term?
No, I think he means RTU, which is ready to use.
Oh, okay.
So to disappoint everybody, I'm actually going down in size. That's going to be the largest size now I have for. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Yeah, exactly. You need 7 of these to wash one car. The answer is yes, I'm thinking about it. The challenge right now, on a serious note, is we're all challenged to get raw materials. So the fact that I'm even still in business is like a miracle. So everything takes a lot longer. So I would say yes, potentially in the future, I have these grandiose plans. The downside, it's not really a downside. It is what it is. It's factual, and I put myself here as I'm one guy. So, I mean, Ryan, you know this better than anybody. Like, I'm one guy running a million different things.
So lots of elves.
Right. Yes, they're all right here. There's my elves right there, my motivation for using its machine. But yeah, so it's challenging to put out things in larger quantities because that's more SKUs. But the mission is, I hope one day I can do that, because I've gotten this. Ben Thomas is not alone, but hopefully one day, Ben. I'm trying to do everything I possibly can, but without losing my mind in the process.
Right, and you held up your tiny bottle there, and I know a lot of ceramic coatings are sold in tiny bottles. And I during this downtime, I've seen lots of YouTubers posting all about ceramics. Can you give your 30-second thoughts on ceramic coatings?
That's the hardest question ever to answer in 30 seconds. Are you crazy? Okay, so 30 seconds, yikes. Ceramics are wildly popular, and I think they're wildly popular for multiple reasons. The first one is that in some degree, various degrees, they are effective. My challenge with them is that the claims that some are being sometimes that are being made with them don't exactly equate to what actually happens in real life. That's a long. I'm trying to be very careful there. I don't think things last for 10 years, because if you read the fine print, you have to get it reapplied every month or 2 months or quarterly, whatever it is. I'm not even, I'm not looking to try to pull a tail on a lion here, but so it's a very big industry, and I think what's happening is there's a lot of over promises happening. Put this on your car and you don't have to wash it ever again. Now, a lot of people aren't necessarily saying that, meaning manufacturers are pulling back from the connotation that that's what's happening. But I think the owners go like, well, I put a $2,000 coating on my car. I don't have to wash it. And even if I did have to wash it, it's never going to get scratched. It's like, that's not the truth. So
that would be called magic.
I think if we continue, yeah, exactly. It's illogical. And from a more detailing nerd perspective, if I have to then remove those scratches on a coating, it's a nightmare. And personally, as a professional detailer, I don't want to spend my time doing that, because there's negative returns for me. I'd rather just polish clear coat. That's what I've been training to do for 20 years. I don't know how to polish every single coating that's out there. There's 5 million of them. How would I? So I'm being a little exaggerating there. I'm sure I could figure it out. It's just, and then there's health issues that can go along with it. A lot of them are flammable. A lot of them have some things in there that are not so wonderful, especially if you polish and there's fumes and things. There's a million people that would argue with me. I understand it is a huge money maker for detailers, so I am pro making money for people. My last note, even though I'm over my 30 seconds, is we need to be careful about what we're promising to customers, because I think that false expectation, although we're making money now, it's gonna, in a couple of years, we'll come back and bite us in the butt saying like, yeah, I put this miracle stuff on my car. Because the truth of the matter is I'm getting maybe 5 to 7 emails a week like, dude, I put this thing on my car a year ago and I got scratches all over the place and I can't get it out. I'm like, so it's we got to be careful there. So I'll leave it at this. I am pro coatings if everything is being if everyone's being forthright and everyone is on the same page and it's safe. So I think it's not going to go away. Let's just make sure we understand it. Does that kind of make sense?
That's a good place to put the period, I think. The next question is from Tyler. He says he's a mobile detailer. He's asking for tips on how to get more clients. I'm assuming this is in a normal world, not in current lockdown situation.
Did you hear that ding?
I did.
What the heck was that?
Don't look at me. It wasn't me.
Oh, all right. Well, that was loud.
Dinged,
all right.
Something dinged on your side.
All right, fine.
No,
Tyler, good question.
No, they're picking up the Honda right now downstairs. That was me. Sorry. Go ahead. Talk.
I just went deaf for your Honda. So, all right, Tyler, mobile detailer. Getting more clients is tricky. So what I say is, I know what you're asking, but I'm going to play with you a little bit here and just poke at you. So I don't really necessarily want more clients. I want better clients. And I know you were like, oh, that's what I'm asking, but I needed to make that point clear. So when I first got and Ryan, you were actually there with me when I did the presentation in Norway.
Oh, that was amazing. Yeah.
Right, well, thank you. But I'm saying this was the topic.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, this was the topic.
So
and basically,
just go watch the Norway video.
Well, I don't even have the Norway video up. We should probably figure out how to. Actually, that could be a nice project. We have that video, don't we?
Here, I'll send it over to you.
Okay, yeah. So let's probably put that up. But basically, the short version of it, if there is one, is you don't want more clients. You want better clients. So you try to build a filter system of who matches the needs that you do. So, for example, let's say you wanted to do car dealerships. I don't know why you would ever want to do that, but if you wanted to do car dealerships, which ones would make sense for you to do that. Do you want to do parking lots? I used to do like 200-300 parking lot cars where I would just take a truck and I would literally stand out the back and then spray it with a hose, and we would all go and clean them down. They were $5 a car or something like that back then. Okay, do you want to focus on that, or do you want to focus on, everyone seems to focus on, I want to do Ferraris. It's like, well, do you want to do Ferraris? Is that like meaningful to you, or is it profitable? And so I think people think I want more clients equals more profit. It doesn't. In fact, the Ferrari guys typically are not the guys you're going to make the most money on. So to me, it goes, you're killing me with those dings.
No, that wasn't me.
It goes,
nope, not me.
oh boy. I lost my train of thought. Tyler,
you were talking
can yell
about
at him right
detailing.
Now.
You were talking about making more money, not just ramping up volume.
Right. So I think a lot of people think that they're going to get a lot of money by getting more clients, and that's not the case. So I'm circling around answering this question. To get more clients, basically find the ones, do the 80-20 rule on your current existing. I'm assuming you have clients. If you're asking more clients, I'm assuming you have clients based on your email here or your text. So you find the ones, you do the 80-20 rule on your clients. That's basically what I did when I took over my other shop. Who were the best 20? Took those best 20 and kind of pushed away the other 80, which sounds a little scary. So now I have 20% of like the killer, best, amazing clients in the world for me. And then what I do is I call all of them. I make sure that they're unbelievably happy, meaning I don't discount anything, but anything they need, anything they want, I take care of that for them. And I then ask them for referrals. So the best referrals are, as everyone knows, I'm going to say word of mouth. I don't advertise. I don't like buy things in magazines because people open it up, read it once, and throw it away, even if they read it at all. So word of mouth, I cannot stress that enough. Spend all of your time and energy on the top 20% that you currently have, and then ask them for referrals. That would be my short version. Plus, Ryan's going to do up a new video for us. Thanks, Ryan.
What? Okay. Next question.
I forced you to do a new video.
What would you recommend that's a polish but non-abrasive, just to clean up the paint?
What would I recommend that's a polish but non-abrasive, just to clean up the paint? So that's a tricky question. I think there's a lot more confusion in that question. By default, a polish, as far as I understand it, is something that has an abrasive. So it's a double negative. I don't know how to have a polish with a non-abrasive just to clean it up. In that case, you're probably talking about a glaze, but I think technically a glaze still has some sort of abrasive characteristics in it. So I think he's saying just to clean up the paint, you still would need a polish.
I think he's thinking of a mild polish, not of like a not as aggressive of a polish.
Right. So any light sort of polish that is decent out there. 210 is probably, or 200 is or 205 rather is a good one to go with. But there's not enough information in that question for me to. Are you doing it by hand? Are you doing it by machine?
We got a lot of questions, so let's plow.
Remember, you're asking a detailing nerd a very nerdy question. It's very hard for me not to.
Update on Reflex. That should be an easy one for you. There.
Right there.
Is it available now?
It's available now. I actually posted it last night. Didn't tell anybody because I just wanted to kind of ooze it on.
So this is the public announcement of a new Reflex.
This is the public announcement. I just shot this morning a video talking about how and why it all went through. I can give you the short version because nothing's ever short with me. But basically, it took me 2.5 years. Yeah, 2.5 years to figure this one out because I wanted to have it in a certain sort of parameter that I thought was something that nobody was doing because it's very hard to do, and I wanted it safe. So I wanted to have a coating that was non-flammable and had incredibly low hazards. And when I say incredibly low hazards as opposed to no hazards, to me, in my mind, I can't really say no hazards unless I can drink it. Like water has no hazard, but it's still hazardous. Your shampoo is still technically you can't drink shampoo, but you get my point. Mm-hmm. I wanted to make it as safe as possible because you and I both know I have little people running around here just like you. You want to be. Ultimately, I can't believe I'm even going to say this, but I stand proud. Who cares about the car and how shiny it is if you're gonna hurt people around you, right?
Right.
Like we got a little perspective here. So I thought, hey, let's make something that will fit my parameters. So it's very easy. The joke is, it's people say, hey, why did it take so long? I say it's very easy to make coatings, and then I stop, and they go, I don't understand. Then why did it take so long? And I said, well, it takes very long. It takes a long time because it's very hard to make coatings that are safe, that are the way that you want them. The way, you know what I mean? So like I can, as a manufacturer, you can grab coatings all day long. Hell, look at this. I just sitting here. That wasn't even planned. I have a couple of coatings on my desk right now.
They'll melt your
So
flesh,
like, there's
but...
just what's that?
They might.
Oh, they'll melt your flesh.
But,
yeah. Yeah. Well, I would. That's a bit of an exaggeration, but I get your point. Yeah, they're easy to make if you make them in a way that everybody else is sort of making them. And I wanted to do something different, sort of like my frothy, where I was shaving and I used a humectant that was in the shaving cream and I put it in the frothy, and the thing is amazing. It's just a great product. This one here is made out of skincare emollients, and it's focused on UV protection. You know, nowadays, I don't want to say women because both human beings, but usually women, put, you know, as I don't do it, you put the cream on your face after the shower and all that kind of thing for your skin.
Every day, yeah.
That's kind of what this is based on. Yeah, I know. Well, look at your complexion there. I know you put a lot of.
I got a beauty filter on.
Yes, you better dial that thing up, buddy. So, yeah, that's a long way of saying this thing is crazy. It sheets water, UV protected, environmentally safe. So there's a lot that went into this, and so it's live now, and I'm putting an unlisted video on my website where I ramble for like 7 minutes or whatever it is on explaining it, because a lot of people are like, I want to know your brain, like what went into this. So I show how it goes on, how it goes off. So there you go. Yeah. Okay. What are your thoughts on wireless polishers?
Yep.
Can I read the questions? Did I just ruin your whole?
Sure. No, go ahead. I'll just go get coffee. That's good.
Why don't you just be quiet and let me take over, okay? Wireless polishers, awesome. They tend to not have enough oomph right now, so we're not really getting wireless polishers unless I could be wrong. Maybe they're coming out soon. But wireless polishers tend to be, I think, in 12 or 15 millimeter throws. I mean, these big orbits, but we typically use, the biggest orbit right now is 21, and that's an arbitrary number, but I'm not, hopefully maybe there's a 25 coming out or whatever, but 21s, I think the power and the motor, meaning the power source and the motor, I could be wrong because this was a while ago, may not be strong enough to kick the orbit of the 21. So I think the wireless polishers are only in 15s. I prefer 21. But wireless in general, that's like a dream come true for me. If I can pick up a polisher, put it down, pick it up, put it down, put it under my arm while I'm doing something, and not have a cord.
Watching you deal with those cords when we're doing the complicated shoots around really expensive cars, it's like watching a dancer. You're like cable, and then to the left, and then to the right. It's really quite amazing. We should just do a whole supercut of you getting tangled in cables.
So Tommy's on point. Like, I would love a wireless polisher.
Yeah.
All right. Anthony V. Am I reading these or are you reading these? Am I reading your mojo?
Larry, can you give me some tips on polishing for the first time with a DA, especially when doing curved areas and panels?
Okay. So these have changed massively over the years, which is really exciting for someone who's first learning how to do polish, to correct the paint is technically the words. In the past, we would use things like rotaries. I'm setting this up a certain way. We use rotaries. You'd have to have certain skills and experience to do that, to cut the paint. Now we have these dual action polishers that have large orbits, 21, 15s, these kinds of things that do a lot of work with the similar-ish to the rotary. I mean, you can get a lot done even though it's not a direct drive, a rotary. This is oscillating and orbiting at the same time, or rotating at the same time. So the moral of the story is you can get the same kind of professional cut as we did years ago with something that gives you, there's things called stalls, and that can stall out if you make a mistake. It's basically going and playing bowling and putting the bumpers on the bowler, on the whatever the thing is. You know what I mean? Where you can't put it in the gutter.
Yeah.
You basically bumpers. Thank you. You can polish a car with way less stress, get the same amount of cut, the same amount of perfection as you would a professional, but you get it in a DA. It's absolutely amazing. And quite frankly, it kind of levels the playing field. I think maybe that's why they put a little bit of hurt on the detailing industry, because people are so close to professional detailers. Now, professional detailers, we only really play in the last 10%. Basically, anybody can get up to that 90%. you imagine if you were a surgeon, you'd be like, yeah, everybody can get right up to the 90%, but that last 10%, do you see what I'm saying? So the fact that the technology has become so amazing has allowed us to be able to get a decent polish. So to answer his question, you want a very basic polisher. They range anywhere from $200 to $469, something like that, with a dual action, maybe a larger throw, something like a 15, a very medium. Maybe don't want to go super tall, and follow. I have 10,000 videos on how to do that. It's really not that complicated. Work on some test panels if you have the time to do that.
Okay, that's a good tip. Go down to your local junkyard or something and get a test panel,
your body shop.
Yeah,
the body shop wants to get rid of all that stuff. Just go down there. They'll look at you. The biggest hurdle you have is they'll look at you like a lunatic. But other than that, be like, hey, yeah, I want some scrap metal. Try to find a black one or something dark. Throw it in the back of your car. Make sure you tape off the edges. I can't tell you how many times I've done that and scratched my hand because usually it's in an accident. Just FYI. So tape it off, put it on a stand or whatever, and start polishing it. And you're usually in the learning curve is much slower than it was before. So I would say work with that. But his specific question was in curved areas. Curved areas, typically you want to go a little bit less orbit, because those orbits tend to karate chop a lot of times. And if you're in these convex or the eyeballs of a Porsche, when you get into that curve right here, if you have a large throw, you tend to karate chop that. So sometimes for someone who's a beginner, I'm using this, we're talking, the pros watching are probably arguing with me right now. I'm talking about a beginner. You want to go something like a 15, something with a small throw, and you'll be fine. But the learning curve is so low right now; it's pretty incredible technology.
Cool. Okay, what did you learn recently that you wish you knew when you first started detailing?
Well,
while you're thinking about that, somebody said they just ordered Reflex, by the way.
Okay, awesome! Thank you for doing that.
To the question.
Yeah, no, give me some stall time here. I have an answer, but it isn't recently, because I don't know what's going on. But the two big things that I learned, I would say recently, as in the last couple of years versus when I first started, everything. I'm being a little facetious here, but you don't go to the bathroom without a contract. Everything has to be in a contract. I know that sounds crazy. That's what makes these sort of, I don't have it here, but the app that I was holding up before, that's basically a contract, because they actually sign it. Or if you agree to do anything, you should have a contract. I think anytime anyone says anything to you, it's great. Trust everyone. Love everyone, trust no one. That's kind of my policy. And so having things written, I know that sounds crazy because they want to know something about detailing. That's the best detailing advice I could ever give anybody. I know that sounds like, what the heck does that have to do with detailing? That, to me, that was the most important game-changing thing, because it cuts through the gray. And so when you think about detailing customers, they ask you for some sort of random thing or whatever, and you kind of go down this rabbit hole, which leads me to my second point, is I am getting better. I'm not really good at it, but I'm getting better at saying no. Because when you say yes to something, you don't realize what you're saying no to, something else later on. So if I keep saying yes to these people, yes to these people, yes to these people, I go down this rabbit hole that I'm not very good at. I may not be good at whatever it is that they're asking me to do. Like one customer asked me to put a carburetor on top of his do the carburetor thing after the car was detailed. And I was like, I wanted to please this guy in the worst way because I wanted this job. And I was like, I'm not a mechanic. I know, that's not what I want to do.
Yeah.
And that's a real challenge. I'm not even being facetious about that. So those would be the biggest detailing tips. And I know that's that has nothing to do with polish. It's great. There's two separate things. The detailing is not the challenging part in my mind. It's dealing with the customers and understanding yourself and knowing not where to fall in a hole.
And that's good advice for any business, frankly. Let's go on to the next one. Have you done any testing with a solution with graphene in it?
No, that's like the latest and greatest trend or fad or whatever right now. No, we're certainly looking at it, but I kind of don't jump at a lot of the trends, and that's probably why you might think I'm behind the times or whatever, but I'm not. I like to do a lot of tests before I hop into something. So graphene is another popular thing that's going to be another coating, and basically, aside from the technology, because I can't speak to that because we're still in testing, it's just another thing to hang your hat on. Now, I met with years ago. I'm not going to use his name. One of the biggest guys in the industry. Ryan, you know who he is. Don't say who he is. One of the biggest guys in the industry, and he put his arm around me and said, "Son, if you're not changing your products and coming out with new products all the time, you know, you're dead in the water," kind of thing. And that stuck with me. I'll just leave it at that. So I think there's this endless sort of flying to the moon every single day. And I get that. And I love the idea of innovation, but sometimes I think there's innovation. And sometimes I think, hey, we already ran through that one. Let's figure out another one. It's like, well, what's the matter with this one? This one works perfectly fine. Like, why do we need to? Well, because you need to invent something. Yeah. Right. So I'm not saying that this one is, for the record, because I still don't have enough data to make that, but I can smell blood in the water, if that makes sense.
Okay. What's your thought on a gloss meter? Oh, gloss meter.
Ooh, it must be. Yes. Yeah. What does that look like? What the heck was that?
It's yeah, like that.
Yes. Okay. Fine. Boy, if you guys are watching this, replay that. That sounds horrible. This guy must be Canadian. He's got a 964 in his thing too. I like this guy already. See his little thing there. Yeah. Gloss meters are cool as long as you get the right angle. Don't quote me on this one because I keep forgetting. I think it's 20%. Somebody's gonna post it up and say that I'm wrong on that. I can't remember, but yeah, they're cool. They're typically not really for. They're for other things like steel and like they're usually for other industries. I've seen them use that in the factory. You saw that in the Acura. You were with me, obviously. The Acura factory. Remember when that guy put the gloss meter on there?
Oh, yeah.
On the NSX. Yeah. The picture behind you, as a matter of fact. The picture right there.
Yeah. Sorry, I can't.
In that episode, there you go. Mm-hmm. They used a higher tech one that I don't think any detailer could ever purchase because that thing was crazy. Remember the big apparatus?
The whole place was crazy.
Right. So. Yes, I think gloss meters are good. They might be not as important for detailers, but it is a great sales tool. There's no doubt. I haven't been able to get, I think my degree is off too. I think I have a 60 instead of a 20. I can't really get a huge spread. So I started scratching the surface to show, and it picked it up to some degree. So I scratched like with, rocks or whatever, and then I put it on there and it was X or whatever. And then I went back and polished it till it was like, I sanded it, it was perfectly flat. And I got like, I'm making this number up. I can't remember what it is, X plus 2 or something. I'm like, So I needed to be more of a variation as opposed to just one bump to make it really effective for a sales tool. And then ultimately I put it down and never picked it up again. So
that's for people who haven't seen, do you still have that video up with you and the Rupes scientist talking about what is gloss? That's a really good video.
Yeah.
You should check it out on your channel.
Yes. Boy, and that one came out of nowhere. That video did really well. People watched that one. And the best part about that video was I think you turned the camera on. I was sitting on the couch for an hour and that was the end of it. I didn't have to do anything,
Yeah,
remember that video? That was in Norway too.
Talking.
No.
And it was another one.
That's the best video.
Some of the videos I kind of mentally check out while I'm filming with you because I'm like, I've heard it 100 times. But it was like, I was like, oh yeah. It's just he did it in such a nice condensed way.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on to the next question. Tip to make my aerator spray more fan-shaped with frothy. Tends to only spray in a stream. Not sure what I'm doing wrong. Oh, this is talking about your product. For those.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things that could be at play there. One, the dilution or the ratio of how you dilute the products may be incorrect. I have no idea. Again, this is sort of like I tell people sometimes it's sort of like calling a doctor on the phone and be like, oh, I have a headache. Am I going to die? He's like, I have no idea. I have to test you. It's hard to diagnose over the phone, but typically it's the dilution ratio. If he's talking about fan shape, that's more likely a pressure thing. What most people don't realize, I don't have one right here, but you're talking about headspace of that much. That's why that canister is so nice. There's other ones that
how nice is that canister big again?
This big, this nice. Yeah, I get where you're going with that. But there's designed headspace in there, so I think he's running out of air. Is what I'm thinking, because as it'll fan for a second and then it'll die, but some people think that it should fan like for a long time. It just doesn't. It runs like anything else. It's only hand pumped. There's only that much space.
Is it possible
to overpump?
Is it possible to overpump?
No, because there's a release valve.
Oh,
no,
okay.
like if you over pump it, it'll just leak out
Okay.
for safety.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's only this much room in the canister, and then that much is what we call headspace. I don't know if I can see my fingers. There you go. That much is headspace. As you drain the liquid out, the headspace increases. So that's where it becomes difficult to diagnose it because I don't know where he is in his.
Is it possible that he's overfilling the container at first?
Like at first, sometimes that becomes a problem. If you go way too much with it, there's no headspace. You got no air. You got nothing to. Yeah. You got nothing to push it down.
Yeah.
So basically, what I would say to him is, you got to keep playing with it. Like, trust me, it's going to work, unless you have hard water or there's some other factor where it's getting clogged. So maybe take out the pucks, unscrew. I did in the video. Unscrew that thing, the top little nozzle, and then inside there's yellow pucks. Take the yellow pucks out. The little trick, by the way, Sean, is to take the pucks out exactly the way that they go in. Sometimes I find if I flip them over, it gets a little funky. So when you take them out, just make sure they're, like memorize where they were, and then
take a photo
go wash them off.
Or with your phone.
Well, they're all yellow, so it's confusing. Well, remember, they're not numbered.
Okay.
So when you pull it out, put it on like a microfiber towel and lay them out exactly how they were in there. And then dig one of them, clean it, and then put it right back. That's how I do that, so that they go back in. I don't know. That's not like a real thing. That's just like maybe my mental. So There you go. There you go, Sean.
Alex wants a secret coupon code.
Well, tell him it's a secret, so I can't tell him. I don't have any coupons right now. We're in a pandemic at the moment, but tell him he can call me and tell me what my favorite color is, and I'll give him a discount. Sure, we'll make it happen.
Is Reflex a type of ceramic coating?
No.
So what's it made out of?
It's made of skincare emollients. So it's a blend of skincare, sort of skincare. I don't want to say oils, but skincare emollients is the technical word, and it's blended with UV inhibitors. So it is a very, very unique and wildly pain in the butt thing to get, because there's one particular product in there that the lead time is just bonkers. It was like 6 months to get this one product, one raw material. So ceramic is a completely different animal, and that's what we were talking about before. So you can't really compare the two of them. It's sort of, I don't want to say apples and oranges. It's more apples and bicycles. They're completely different philosophies, and I wouldn't say one is right or wrong. I'm not even saying mine is right or wrong, and nor is ceramic. It's just different.
Okay, cool. Christine, speaking of people who work on Ferraris, she says she's the only detailer and paint correction specialist for Ferrari Quebec. As a female in the industry, she's very proud. Have you ever met many women in the profession?
I have. We met a few. Ryan, you were with me again in Norway.
Yeah, no, there were quite a few out there.
We met a few. And Norway is crazy about detailing. I think you can attest to that. So they're really, really fastidious about things in Norway. So they're my kind of people. But yes, I've met a few women. I wouldn't say a lot. My estimate would be, I would say no more than 15 to 17.
So there's room for more.
Via like SEMA. Oh my gosh, there's way more room for more. And here's the great part. I think women in particular, because I work with a lot of them, they're way more particular and focused. And I think that's a really big attribute, because if you get distracted while you're doing something like this, you can have some serious issues. So I think women are going to kick our butts pretty quickly when this comes out. This is a hardcore. You know what I mean? It's not like, I'm pro women in the industry. It's awesome.
Cool. David says he loves the channel. Do you have a recommendation on a paint depth gauge?
It depends on how much. I just had it here. There's a couple of different ones. You can use a Del Fesco. A Del Fesco is relatively inexpensive, a couple $100.
Yeah. Okay.
And then it just went right out of my mind. The other one. Somebody text me. There's another one, more expensive, but it does reach quite well. I can actually find out.
If somebody else knows of one they would recommend, they can post it in the stream for other people to look at.
No, I'm gonna find it right now. But yeah, go ahead.
You are? Okay. I'll ask you the next.
No, just keep going.
Okay, so the next question.
Elcometer. That's it. The Elcometer.
How's that spelled?
Sorry.
What's it?
Elcometer.
Like El Comedor?
Yeah, it's spelled. It's on my website. ELCO meter. Elcometer.
Okay. Larry.
That has the gloss meter as well.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, reload auto.
What?
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that name.
What tips
like
would you have for someone about to do a paint correction on a 74 Ford Ranger with single stage for the first time? Love the videos and the passion you bring to detailing.
Oh, thanks, man. Killer name, by the way. I love people who have named their companies something different than the average. You know what I mean? I love that's such a cool name. So, anyways, good question. Easy answer. You are going to run into paint residue like nobody's business. So that means think of the paint as if it was, I'm making this up right now, like as if it was wood, right?
Yeah.
So if it was wood, yes, I have brushes on my desk.
Because of course you do.
If it was wood, I know. Of course I do. Look, I have one over here too. You would be sanding that wood and sawdust would be coming off, right? Makes sense. Same concept, metaphorically speaking, on the single stage paint, it's going to be coming off a lot. So you're going to get a lot of residue. So my recommendation to this gentleman here is to do something that Kevin came up with, which is mow down pass. So let's say you have, I'm making this up, a 2x2 section, maybe like that big, let's call it, right? So you do a 2x2 section and you're going to do a mow down pass, which means you're going to pick your choice of pad. I would probably recommend, this is pure guess, I'm not standing there, of course, something like a foam pad as opposed to a microfiber pad, because if you use a microfiber pad, you're going to cut through the paint really fast because it's soft, there's no clear coat on it, and you're going to clog up the pad really, really fast, which is going to be very annoying because you have to blow out a lot. So use something like the maroon maroon Meguiar's foam pad. Thank you. And that's the one that we used on the airplane, Freedom 1.
Yep.
That had a lot of residue coming off. So that particular pad is really good at managing, meaning holding the residue without it being clogged up. Then you take it and you're going to blow it off. So the first step is you fill it up, you do your normal, put polish on there. I probably wouldn't use compound at first because you don't want to cut too much. The misconception is you want to cut the paint really. You don't want to cut too much because there's too much sawdust coming off and it overwhelms your polisher. You follow me? So you put that on, you do a mow down technique, which is very fast. Like if you anyone who ever watches me do that and is unfamiliar with what I'm doing, they think I don't know what I'm doing, which is reasonable because I'm moving my hands like this because I don't really care. I'm just it's a mow down. I'm just trying to scratch up the surface and trying to get the dead skin off. Then I go over and I blow the pad out. Then I put one little dot of, let's say, polish on the pad, and then I'll go in, and then I'll slow down because I took that top layer of dead skin off. That's what that's what he's going to run into. If that paint is red, that's going to be an amazing before and after. Those Ford Rangers with red paint.
Yeah.
First of all, he's going to look like he murdered somebody when he's done because he's going to have red stuff all over him. But if that's red paint, he's going to look like a hero if he does that right.
He's going to be blowing out so much stuff. He better have some place kind of to do that because otherwise it's just going to get everywhere.
Right.
Okay.
And if you don't have something, we shot that when we did Farah's video. You can put it in a wet bucket.
Oh yeah, because there was a bunch of single and some two-stage on that Countach. Okay. And
yes, indeed.
This is a super chat. Yes, thank you. Somebody chipped in a couple bucks for this question, so we're jumping right to it. How should newly installed peeling PPF be fixed?
How should newly installed PPF be fixed? It depends on how new. Look at me, I'm holding this like a cigar. How new? I was looking on the thing. I'm like, what am I doing? It depends on how new. You probably have a couple of hours. That's what's defined to me as new. A couple of hours, you may be able to manipulate it, but after that, that's it. You can't do anything. You either have to trim around certain areas, or you got to pull it off and start over again. I can't tell you how often you have to pull off and start all over again. You cannot let it's very challenging as a professional to let a car go out with clear bra messed up.
Okay.
What's the matter?
I just wanted to rewind for people who didn't know what PPF was.
Oh, paint protection film.
Okay. So clear bra.
Okay. Clear bra, paint perfect. That's the technical term is paint protection film. Good catch there. I just went right over my head. So you have a little bit of a window to manipulate the clear bra after you put it on. But if you wait too long, meaning it dries more than a couple of hours overnight, whatever, then you basically either have to trim. If it's just an edge, you may be able to trim around it and then live with it. But most of the time, When we do clear bras at my shop here, we put it on, and then you have to tell the customer whatever day you think you're going to give it back to them. Tell them 3 days later. Like, just really give yourself a window, but don't take that time and do it at the last minute. I mean, do the car, and then just let it sit there and let the problems come to you. Because a lot of times you see bubbles and you see things, and you're like, oh, hey, this may come out over time. Right. I can't. Just trust me. You don't want to say to the customer, hey, there's a couple of things there and a couple of bubbles and a couple of whatever. Yeah. But it should be fine, because he's going to drive you nuts if it doesn't come out. You see what I'm saying? So just let the problems, because when I tell people about clear bra, I'm like, listen, it's not going to be perfect, but it'll be perfect over time. So just let it sit here. Give me a couple days, and then I will weed out the problems as we go. That's just being realistic.
And then the time for how long it takes to get perfect is all dependent on temperature, humidity, all that stuff, right?
To some degree, it really depends on how long you spend putting it on, and how good you are at putting it on. So it's a factor of those things, as well as how clean your shop is. That one is actually annoyingly important.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. And, so a lot of times, if I work in a crappy area, I'll wet it down first if I can't clean it.
MB as Frenchie gave us a second super chat. How's the AMMO 964 doing, and your wife's car? How's your Outback?
The Outback is great. We haven't driven it for very obvious reasons and forever. It's sitting outside right now, which is not wonderful. It actually snowed today. Can you believe that?
What?
It snowed last night, and it's going to snow tonight apparently at 9 o'clock.
By the way, in Seattle, it's 70 degrees and sunny. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so not thrilled about that. So my wife's car's sitting outside. It's great when nobody's really driving it. But yeah, that's good. The 964 is awesome. I have it locked away in another building, just kind of waiting for it to not snow. I don't know what else to say about that. That car has no heat or no anything, so it's it can be a challenge to drive when it's 20 degrees outside. So thank you for asking. The car is awesome. Great car.
Okay, and then this one is kind of close to what you answered, but maybe you can build off of a previous thing. Love the channel. You're my inspiration. Aw. After the lockdown, I'm going to start my own detailing business. I've always wanted to. Any tips for somebody starting out beyond what you talked about earlier of getting contracts and all that stuff? Like, what would be
right? I would say
the first stuff he starts with.
Yeah, the first thing is people want to jump into, hey, how do I polish a car? And that's a legitimate thing to think about. But what people don't jump into or have the same tenacity to kind of learn is the business side of the business. So something like QuickBooks will change your world. I mean, that's like a big, Ryan, I mean, I couldn't survive without QuickBooks.
We're working on taxes, so don't talk to me about QuickBooks right now.
Okay. Yeah. So speaking of that, having a good lawyer and a CPA, and you're like, wait a second, I'm just trying to start a business. I'm like, yes, you can start a business and destroy a car on the second day, and then you're out of business forever, kind of thing. So it's the things I'm saying aren't very sexy or exciting to talk about, and people want to hear me say well, first you want to get the right polisher. I'm like, that stuff can come. No, give yourself a week or two, get some healthy training, which we can talk about later. Healthy training, and you'll be good to go. It's the stuff that nobody taught, at least certainly taught me, is having the proper insurance, having a proper lawyer and CPA to help you figure out if you're even being profitable. Because right off the bat, people say, hey, I want to polish the car and do all those things, but how do you know you're even being profitable yet? Do you have a P&L? Do you have a balance sheet? Where are you?
Speaking of insurance, what kind of insurance should a detailer have? Like, if you're detailing $50,000 car, 100,000 cars, do you need a $1 million policy? Or
basically the way that it works is there's again, I can't speak to insurance. You have to talk to your broker. There's
right. This is just opinion, not
disclaimer.
Guidance.
Right. So there's a thing called garage keepers insurance. Even though you technically either have a garage or you don't, it's at least the way I've learned it's called garage keepers insurance, meaning I used it when I was mobile and I used it when I wasn't mobile. And basically you have to describe what it is that you're doing, and typically the max value of a car that you would be doing in a certain given period of time. Now, I will say this, when you are talking to an insurance person, that's not the time to be cute. Meaning, well, I do a $50,000 car, and it's like, well, I know I only do one car that's worth $1 million. Like I have one car that I regularly do that's $6 million. You know who it is,
Yep.
and so I gotta say $6 million, which makes my insurance package go through. It's Ryan's, yes. It makes my insurance go through the roof, and it's annoying. But imagine if I said no. So you always have to think about insurance, which, believe me, I'm like anti-insurance, but not really. It's the right thing to do.
It's yeah.
You got to do it. If you're gonna do it, don't lie about the cars that you're gonna do, because if something were to happen, you're not gonna be insured. So why pay any of it?
Yeah.
So either pay all of it or don't pay any of it. But you can't not pay it.
Yeah, get the right policy. So don't just get the wrong policy. In video production,
right. But I feel bad for this Jack guy. He wants me to answer a question of something exciting, which I can understand. I gave him like what my grandpa would tell me, but that's the truth. Sorry, Jack.
Make sure to button up your pants, boy.
Yeah, exactly.
We got another super chat. Would you do a video? Oh, let me move up to that. By the way, MB French.
Are you getting rich? Are you getting rich right now?
No, I made like I made a few bucks. But it's good. I'll take it. It's my coffee.
Here you go, people.
Okay, so we got some super chats. We're gonna have to finish up with the super chats, I think, because we're over an hour. So we're gonna do the super chats, and then we're gonna do a wrap up. The first one is: would you do a video on how to do basic PPF on the new bumper ledge, since so many are painted, and what to look for in a proper PPF install? AMMOvid. Oh, would you do one of those videos?
I think I will. I have some new stuff coming out. Hopefully by the end of May, June, probably by the middle of June-ish. That will be able to focus on a lot of these things. I'll be in a particular place, will allow me to shoot those a lot easier. So yes,
right.
Not a problem.
Your garage is not ideal. Your garage is not ideal for PPF.
No, because remember, I pull in my wife's car. It's just not clean. It's not. Yeah. I mean, it's clean, but it's not PPF clean.
Right. Let's see what this next one is from. You don't need to skip to my questions. I can wait. No, we'll skip to your questions, and then we'll jump back as we have time. Dan sent me a buck.
You're giving $2. You get up front.
I know, exactly. That's how it works, and thank you. We'll answer. Do you have time for a couple more questions before we wrap here?
It's totally all you.
Larry, will you start a school of detailing one day? Larry's School of Detailing.
School of Detailing. The answer is... That's very funny. The answer is yes. It is rapidly approaching.
Cool.
That's all I can say about that, but it is...
You heard it.
It'll be here soon.
Okay, so yes. Everybody should start saving their pennies to go hang with Larry, drink a cup of espresso while discussing detailing.
That is correct.
It would be cool if I had a pack of stickers for each car I get to protect with Ammo Skin. I learned a lot from the channel and got to put it into practice. Okay, that's just giving you a nice kudo. There we go. And I think
nice.
We are...
It would be cool.
MB is Frenching.
Shoot me an email, Alex.
MB Frenchie is, let's see, she followed up with, or he, I don't know who it is. Would you do a video how to do basic oh wait, no, we already did that one, didn't we? Well, it's not populated here yet, but I want to ask, unfortunately, the PPF started peeling a few days after getting it in from the installer, and they only trimmed it and wouldn't replace it.
Well, I mean, I don't know the whole story, but that's usually not...
That's not cool, right?
That's not the way that's not cool. No. What probably happened is they didn't... You have to train the edges. It's called training the edges. You have to heat the edges and keep doing this like 5,000 times to sort of train the edge so that it doesn't peel up, because then once it peels up and gets a little bit of dirt in it, it's done. It's done. If you can't cut it out, it's done.
So it kind of sounds like a shoddy job, possibly, not knowing who it is or all the circumstances.
Possibly, but I'm very quick to not.
You don't want to throw somebody under the bus.
Right, that's not fair, because I wouldn't want somebody to do that to me. Because who knows? Maybe this person, Frenchie, was peeling it up in the middle of the night. I mean, who knows? I have no idea. But I'm not saying that Frenchie. I'm just I don't have enough info.
The 3M work tunes are great. Some decent hearing protection while getting some music. That might be replacing commenting to something else. And let's see, what's this last one? Can you explain reboot enamel and what changes you've made to mud and lather? And we're going to wrap up on that question, I think.
Cool. Reboot Enamel is a completely different product where it's focused on protection. So if you compare Spit, which is a very popular spray wax, I've made that very slippery, very sexy, very wet, and it also has there's a lot of lubrication in there for you to clean off bird poo, dust. It's when the car is not looking great, you spray it, and you're using that to pick stuff up. Reboot's completely different. There is no lubrication. It is 100% focused on protection. So, do you put it on your car every single time? Every single time after you wash? Sure, go ahead. But I don't. I do that maybe every 2 washes or something like that. Basically, the name reboot means you're rebooting the protection that's currently on your car. So if you were to just spray reboot and let it sit, you actually see it kind of harden up, over time. It takes a day or so. But so that is protection versus something that's a lubricant. Reboot is the most underutilized product yet. So I'm trying to get people, and once they understand, they go, oh my gosh, it's really amazing product. So, and what changes have you done to mud and lather? Now, mud is really, really good now. It was good before, but we changed a few of the sort of surfactants and things in there to make it last a bit longer and to minimize any of the sling. So that was one that we were playing with a lot. I'm very excited about that. Lather is completely insane. That one is more based on, how do I explain this? Shag and lather I redid together because shag is really focused on carpets. And so cleaning carpets is obviously different than cleaning leather. But we use the same base formula and then tweak them to go in certain areas. So lather and shag and mud are just all brand new. I can give him. I don't really feel like getting into the whole technical aspects of it, but basically, they're more effective. They're stronger products, but just like anything else, you can't just hit the gas pedal on everything. It's sort of like making a drag car. Like you can make it go really fast, but like you can't turn. Yeah. I need this car to be able to turn, to stop, to whatever. That's why I love the R8. I feel like it does everything really well. In this case, lather, I boosted up a bit of the power, but I also boosted the brakes. If that
so
is a
it's
weird
more
analogy.
it's more focused now. Is that right?
Yeah, it's got a lot more power, but it's got a lot more brakes too. Meaning you're not going to you're not going to ruin anything in the car. So I'm slowly turning the volume up on both of those. Same thing with Plum, by the way. Plum is a way different product. It is way stronger. Anyways.
Quick. I know this is a quick one. Somebody else was asking, are any of your products dilutable?
I mean, everything's dilutable.
They're
made RTU,
right?
Which is hard. Yeah. So when you say dilutable, is it recommended to dilute them? No, but you technically, sure, you can dilute Gatorade. You can dilute anything you'd like, but they're designed as RTU, meaning ready to use.
It doesn't taste the same. Okay.
Right. That's I'm being factual.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we're going to wrap with that. I'd like to thank everybody who joined us on this. If you like this, leave a comment below. Tell us who you'd like to interview. There's a few other people on my list. I was thinking about maybe getting Musto in on this, maybe in a week or two.
Mustardo. It's pronounced Mustardo.
Oh, is that it? I'll tell him you said that.
Yes.
I'd like to thank everybody who tuned in. I'd like to especially thank Larry, who took a time out of his afternoon to answer your questions. And be sure to subscribe, like, share this with your friends, and leave a comment below. We'll see you again next time. Say goodbye, Larry.